Shit can get dangerous, yeah. Shit can get dangerous. Shit can get dangerous, yeah. Shit can get dangerous, yeah. You stand with that lame bitch, yeah. Well, I'm staying with the gang bitch, yeah. Like, ooh, and they gon' stay by my side, like, why don't you stay on your side? Like, ooh, girl, you always switching sides. Need to get out my life and go get a life, bitch. You just mad you my side, bitch.
Hello everyone, welcome to Absolute Fiction. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Today, I will present to you all. What if Madara Uchiha was in high school DxD? Speech, do not undermine the ability of the Uchiha. Inner thoughts, is this what you meant Hashirama? Just 2, fire style fireball just 2. As Team 7 successfully defeated Kaguya Otsutsuki, we find a depleted Madara lying on the ground just barely hanging on to life, the hard concrete floor underneath his pale white skin and the cool breeze being the only things he can feel. HMP looks like I failed again was the thought that kept ringing in his mind. He slowly moves his eyes down and notices someone approaching him. At first he can't make out who it is, his vision still being blurry by the intense use of his eyes, until he takes another look and finally sees that it is his one and only friend Hashirama Senju. Is that you, Hashirama? Madara weakly said. I guess neither you, nor I could achieve what we wanted. Hashirama replied, it's never that easy, our job is to do all that we can, while we're alive. And then, bequeath the rest for future generations to accomplish. Hashirama stated. So naive, as usual, Madara replied, chuckle, you were always the optimist. But perhaps that is the correct path. Playacom Mega Kilo St, I've got to go home. My dream was squashed. But your dream still lives on. Madara stated. We were both too hasty. We didn't need to fulfill our dreams ourselves. It was more important to cultivate those who would come after us, to whom we could entrust our dreams. Hashirama replied, which means I would have failed anyway. Since I always hated someone standing behind me. Madara stated. When we were kids, you once said we're shinobi and we don't know when we'll die. And that for neither side to die, we'd both have to reveal what's inside of us and pour each other drinks to toast like brothers. But we're both about to die. Right now, we can drink together as war buddies. Replied Hashirama with a soft smile. War buddies, huh? Well, I guess, that's okay, bye. Madara concluded, slowly closing his eyes, never to return to the shinobi world again. In song. Few moments later. Madara's spirit is floating in the vast void of the afterlife. However, it feels like something is holding him back. It's as if some force doesn't want him to transcend further, until he feels a violent pull on his spirit and it is moving towards the light. As his spirit is being pulled, the light grows larger and larger until it completely swallows him up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. A voice shouts at him. Madara's eyes shoot wide open, his senses slowly stabilizing until he can see he is a dark room. Where my Madara questions until he hears a voice behind him. You are in my domain, reincarnation of Indra, but perhaps I should call you Madara Uchiha. As Madara struggled to stand up, he looked behind him, and when he noticed who it was that was speaking, his eyes slightly widened. Hagoromo Otsutsuki, the sage of the six paths. Madara replied, slightly surprised. Hagoromo was just levitated there, looking down on Madara like a disappointed parent looking down on their child. Tell me, Madara, are you satisfied with how you lived life? Madara gave a deep sigh. I suppose not, sage. For once I will admit, I was wrong. Madara replied as he was reflecting how his life unfolded. Hagoromo gave him a soft smile. Tell me, ghost of the Uchiha, what do you think is necessary for peace? Is it love or strength? Madara's eyes drifted to the side. As I look back at my life, sage, and saw what has happened, I believe both love and strength are required for peace. Hagoromo was left stunned after Madara's answer. Not possible. Indra and Asura could have never come together. Hagoromo rebuked. You never tried, was all Madara said. Hagoromo was left speechless. As he looks back at it, he does come to the conclusion that he never really thought of both his sons working together and becoming his heirs. Impossible. You cannot have such dominate forces coming together as one. Hagoromo replied, pleading his case. Madara looked at him dead in the eyes. Nonsense, look at what coming together versus separation has brought the world. When we were united, instantaneous peace was born and the flames of war were silenced. Me and Hashirama were able to build a village and the other nations followed suit. That Uzumaki and Uchiha brat were able to defeat your mother, stop the infinite Kuami and foster world peace, and you sage were able to do the same with your brother. Now when we are divided, hatred is born, war becomes the norm and pain is a common emotion. Hagoromo pondered on Madara's words. Have I really been such a fool as to not notice that both are necessary? Hagoromo thought. What's the point of having strength if you do not have the love to use it correctly, as well as what's the point of having love if you do not have the strength to show it? Madara continued. Those words burned themselves into Hagoromo's mind. What's the point of having strength if you do not have the love to use it correctly, as well as what's the point of having love if you do not have the strength to show it? Those words kept ringing in his head. Regardless of what you say, sage, all the shinobis that had Asura's chakra were noticeably powerful. It is true they believed in love, but they also required strength to make a difference. So I stand by my initial statement, both strength and love are necessary for peace. Madara concluded. Hagoromo was left speechless until he broke out a large smile. Perhaps he deserves another chance, Hagoromo thought. What's so amusing? Madara demanded, noticing Hagoromo's smile. I'm gonna give you a second chance, Hagoromo replied with a wide smile. Come again? Madara questioned. I'm gonna give you a second chance at life, however it won't be in the shinobi world. I will send you to another universe and to another world, to see if you can foster world peace. Madara's eyes went wide. You must be joking. Madara replied. And this time I'm giving you the other half of my power, more techniques, more justus, more forms and more summonings. I believe after what you said, I can fully trust you with my power and more to become the second and a greater sage of the six paths. Hagoromo concluded. What a minute, you aren't joking? Madara replied. An inner part of him was getting excited to start anew and reconstruct his dream. However, I must warn you, the world I'm sending you to is completely different to the shinobi world. The social structure and beliefs are different, as well as there are more powerful beings in that universe. Hagoromo explained. Now Madara was getting really excited. He always enjoys strong opponents. H.M.P. bring it, they do not know who I am. Madara stated. Hagoromo gave him one more smile. Perhaps he can do better this time, Hagoromo thought pleasantly. He placed his hands on Madara and transferred his power to Madara. Alright then, go ahead and change the world, Madara. I will be watching you. Madara woke up on a park bench with nothing but his pants on, his senses slowly returning to him. As he starts to stand up, he begins to scan the environment. He can see objects moving around with an impressive speed, and what interests him the most about these objects is that he can see people inside them. What are these things? Some sort of summonings? Madara questioned. He takes another look and notices building reaching to the heights of the heavens, and people wearing clothes he is not familiar with it. Where am I? Madara questioned. You were in the world I sent you to, remember? A disembodied voice replied to Madara. Is that you, sage? Are you communicating me via telepathy? Madara questioned. Seems you are as sharp as ever, Madara, but back on topic. As I said, this world is different from ours. Majority of the humans you see around you have no chakra or special powers. Technology has developed beyond your comprehension, and how society functions is different, so I advise you to educate yourself as quick as possible of the psychology and structure of this world. Alright then, I will leave you to it. Hagoromo concluded. Fascinating. Let's see what this world has to offer. Madara slowly started to stretch his body, getting his blood flowing. Then he leapt to the tallest building to examine the rest of his surroundings. There must be a library somewhere around here, Madara thought, until he saw a building at the corner of the street filled with books. Perfect, he said. He jumped down into an alleyway opposite the library, and he waited for the owner of the library to come out and close shop. When he notices a short bald man come out and stand behind the door taking out keys to lock the door, Madara teleported behind him, karate chopped him behind the neck. He then grabbed the unconscious library owner's body, dragging him back into the library. He made sure to close the door behind him to indicate the library is closed. He entered a room and found shelves filled with books and information. Madara began to stretch his neck and activated his Sharingan. "Let us begin," was all he said. 12 hours later. Madara is sitting on a chair with one book in one hand and another book in the other hand, being surrounded by mountains and mountains of open books, all of which he finished reading. He threw the last two books on the pile and digested the information. "Truly a fascinating world I am in, however now it would seem that I require a source of income in order to survive," he said. He went back to the room where he left the library owner, grabbed a bucket and filled it with water and splashing it on the library owner's face, effectively waking him up. The library owner's eyes shot wide open and he notices a half-naked man looking down at him with red eyes. "Genjutsu," was all Madara said, and he demanded the owner give him his wallet, valuables and credit card information. After receiving all of this, Madara quickly headed to the nearest clothing store, paying for a plain formal shirt and black formal shoes, then went to the nearest restaurant to grab a bite to eat. He then went to a 4-star hotel to book a night to rest. As he entered, he scanned the room for any threats. After noticing none, he then proceeded to take a shower and groom himself in the mirror, but when he saw himself in the mirror he noticed that he was younger. Much younger. If he were to take a guess, he would be in his mid to late 20s. He was shocked but decided to brush it off, go to bed and rest. The next morning, Madara woke up from his sleep and positioned himself upright, then took a meditation position to think about what his next plan of action is. "Alright, I have secured funds for now, however I require a more suitable headquarters, something bigger and better than just a room," he told himself, and with that being said he grabbed his clothes, checked out the hotel and began to explore the streets of Japan. Play Naruto Shippuden Sasuke theme, Yu Haku. Madara spent a large majority of his day exploring the streets of Japan and studying the daily lives of the people of this world's society. As he continued walking, he noticed a young girl in the streets begging for some spare change and food. When Madara approached her, he saw a young beautiful girl with long silky blonde hair that reached to her back, innocent emerald green eyes. She was wearing an outfit which Madara found ridiculous. In song. "Excuse me sir, could you please donate some money or food? It will be greatly appreciated," the young nun begged. "This is ridiculous, pull yourself together child, have you no dignity for yourself?" Madara replied. The young nun was shocked by his words. This was the last thing she was expecting. "How could you say that? Can't you see this is my only option? I have nothing else," the young nun shot back at him. "Pathetic, all I see is a child giving up and resorting to begging instead of fixing her situation. Let me educate you a bit child, we do not choose our beginnings, however the direction our lives is for us to decide. Pick yourself up, dust yourself and go live a better life," was all Madara said as he continued on his path. Wait, Madara felt his arm being grabbed by someone. As he looked to who grabbed him, he sees that is the young nun. "No one has ever talked to me like that. Matter of fact, no one has talked to me period. They all just look at me like I'm some virus and throw crumbs at me, but you on the other hand are the only one that took an interest in me, the only one to talk to me. I need to know who are." The young nun was interrupted by the growling of her stomach. She looked down to her feet and a red tint filled soft cheeks. She was so embarrassed. "Perhaps you do need some food and stomach," Madara said. The young nun meekly nodded. "Alright then, come along child, let's get you something to eat." An hour later, we find Madara and the young nun in a restaurant, with Madara comfortably leaning back and enjoying his wine while the young nun is stuffing herself with as much food as possible. Madara just observes her, impressed that so much food can fit in that body of hers. The young nun finishes her last dish, adding it to the already enormous pile of empty plates that is besides her. "Thanks for food," she said with a bright smile on her face. Madara just chuckled at her. "Now allow me to make a formal introduction. My name is Madara Uchiha, and you are?" "Oh yeah, I forgot about that, sorry, I'm Asia Argento. I'm so grateful to meet you, Mr. Uchiha," she happily replied. "So tell me child, what is your story?" One backstory later. "And that's how I ended up on the streets, because the church would not accept a nun that can heal devils," she concluded with a sad smile. Madara raised his hand to his chin. "Truly this is interesting, so this whole angel and devil thing I read about before is real, huh? I need more information," he thought to himself. "It would seem life has dealt you a bad hand, however raise your head child, I can see you still have dreams. Hold on to them and go change your life, child. I wish you luck. Madara replied. He then stood up, finished his glass of wine, paid for the bill and left the restaurant. As he was on his way, Madara heard something in the distance. Wait, a voice shouted at him. As he looked back, he saw Asia running towards him. What is it this time, child? Madara asked, slightly annoyed. Let me come with you, please. You are the only one that spoke to me, the only one that accepted me, the only one after the church to feed me, the only one that hasn't judged me, and the only one who even had time to listen to my story. You have basically saved me. Madara stood there just listening. I haven't eaten in weeks. If it weren't for you, I would be dead or would have been taken advantage of. I beg of you, please do not reject me. I will do anything you ask and I will follow you anywhere. All I ask is that you stay with me, Mr. Uchiha, Asia pleaded as tears started running down her cheeks. You willing to follow me and my dream? He asked. I will do anything to make you happy. I hate being alone, she replied. Very well then, come along, child. Asia looked up to him and gave him the brightest smile she could muster. I guess I will try to make allies this time, in order to bring peace. I suppose this is a better way. Isn't that right, Hashirama? Madara thought to himself. Big brother. Big brother. Big brother. Madara finally looked down at Asia as she interrupted his train of thought. What did you call me? He questioned. Big brother Madara, she said enthusiastically. Or are you not happy with that? Is it too much? I'm sorry, Asia said, lowering her head. I haven't been an elder brother in quite some time, Madara thought to himself. An image of Izuna smiling flashed in his mind. Call me what you wish, child, I don't mind, Madara stated. Then he kept walking on his path. Wait for me, big brother, Asia said, smiling and running to catch up to him. A few hours later. I see, the problem is, I just do not have enough money. However, I thank you for your time. We will be leaving now. That was all Madara said as he exited an office with Asia close behind him. Wait, are you telling me you broke, big brother? Do we have to now sleep in the streets? Asia was questioning her now older brother. Wait for it. Was all Madara said. Huh? Wait for what? Asia asked, slightly confused. 5, 4, 3, 2. Wait, 1. Madara finished the countdown in his head. He then turned around and saw the person he was negotiating with earlier. Wait, perhaps we can work something out, said a young woman. She was about 5 feet 5 inches. She is black but with a light skin tone, with a curly-haired afro and light brown eyes. She has a voluptuous body structure with a G-cup size and a large ass. She was wearing a gray crop top with black jeans that complemented her curves. What else can you offer me, Mr. Uchiha? The landlord asked Madara. I can offer you many things, Ms. Nikki Jackson, Madara calmly said with a smirk on his face. She had a slight blush on her face. You know, he is kinda sexy, she thought to herself. Perhaps I can help you with some unpleasant tenants. It is clear that your apartment complex is surrounded by violence, underage sex and drugs, and to sweeten the deal I will make all unpleasant tenants pay all the rent they owe plus interest if you make me co-owner and offer me and Asia a 4-star apartment. Madara replied. Deal. Your room is 508, she said. Good, please take Asia to our new apartment and give her the keys while I deal with unwanted trash. Nikki didn't waste time. She grabbed Asia's hand and guided her to the apartment. Alright then, what's the problem, Madara said to himself. He leapt to the second level of the apartment complex and reached the door of a certain apartment. He kicked the door down and noticed the apartment was a mess. Play Naruto Shippuden Sasuke theme, Hayuhaku. The air was full of smoke from the drugs being burnt and the scent of alcohol. As he started to walk in the apartment, all he saw were passed out drunk college kids on the floor. On his left he noticed a young girl being bent over the table and being fucked from behind by a much older man. To his right he noticed a group of students sniffing cocaine and popping Xanax. As he continued walking, he came into the living room and noticed a group of male students gangbanging 2 college girls while listening to some hip-hop and trap music. Disgusting, he said to himself. He grabbed one of the male students by the neck and pinned him against the wall. Who of you here own this apartment? Madara demanded. I man, who the fuck do you think you are? One male student said as he approached Madara from behind. Your worst nightmare. Was all Madara said as he backhanded the male student and he flew into the speaker system, effectively killing the music and song. Everyone stopped what they were doing and focused all their attention on Madara. Now I will ask again, who among you owns this apartment? One of the male students tried to jump him, but Madara simply threw the student he already had pinned against the wall towards the other student that was trying to jump him, effectively knocking them both out. Oh my god, Tom. Hey asshole, I really found that guy Chu. The female student was interrupted as Madara just slapped her across the face. Silence, child, he calmly said. Hey asshole, that's my sister you just slammed. The other female student was interrupted as he also slapped her across the face. Get that son of a bitch. One of the male students shouted. One of them tried to sucker punch Madara from behind, but he grabbed the attacker's arm, outstretched it and used his other arm to punch the attacker's arm, breaking his elbow in the process. Then he punched him directly in the nose, giving the attacker a broken and bloody nose. Another attacker came rushing in, but Madara quickly span around him and kicked the attacker in his back, causing him to fly through the wall. Another attacker tried a flying kick, but Madara already saw this and simply moved out the way, causing the attacker to fly out the window due to his own momentum. Everyone else started to tremble before him. Who is this guy? One student asked. Fuck if I know, some kind real life Bruce Lee, another student replied. Madara quickly dashed in front of one of the students and grabbed him by the neck and was slowly choking the life out of him. I'm going to ask this one more time, who of you here owns this apartment? Madara demanded, his voice sending an intense wave of killing intent. Everyone was scared for their lives and the student who was being choked started to shit himself. Madara noticed this. Pathetic was all he said as he tightened his grip on the student's neck. It's Kazami's place. He is in the first room on your left, down the hall. The student, barely able to speak, answered his question. Good, now get out all of you, Madara demanded as he threw the student that was in his grip out the door. Everyone else didn't waste time and followed his command. As Madara made his way down the hall, he saw the room of his interest. However, he heard two voices coming from the room. Please Kazami, stop this. I don't wanna do this. Come on baby, trust me, it's not that bad. I will be gentle, I promise. Please Kazami, stop it, shut up bitch, and just let me have my fun. As Madara made his way to the door, he noticed it was locked. He then proceeded to kick the door down and noticed two students in the room, a girl on the bed with a male student on top of her. Are you the one they call Kazami? Madara questioned as his eyes were moving around scanning the room he just entered. Yeah, so what of it, punk? Kazami replied. You are being evicted, Madara calmly said. Say what now? Hey listen here old man, I don't know what you talking about, but you better. Kazami was interrupted as Madara dashed to the bed, grabbed him by the neck and started dragging him out the room. I said you are getting evicted, so please vacate the premises, Madara stated as he was starting to choke Kazami to death. Do we have an understanding? Kazami nodded his head as fast as he could. Good was all Madara said as he threw Kazami out the window. Madara dusted off his hands, was about to leave until he felt someone grab his hand. Excuse me sir, thank you for saving me just now. It was the girl Madara saw in the bedroom. She was about 5 feet 4 inches with pale white skin. She had black pigtailed hair with each tail reaching her upper back. She had dark violet eyes. She had about C-cup size and firm and perky ass. She wore a white shirt with black text on it that said fuck the system that only reached down to her upper stomach, and she also wore black mini skirt. She had a tattoo of a flaming skull on her right thigh and a nose piercing. Leave was all he said. The girl was slightly hurt by his words, but she gathered all the resolve she could and continued with the conversation. You see, the problem is I have nowhere to stay. I am only able to pay off my college fees by selling drugs, and that bastard Kazami allowed me to stay here because I was too good at selling drugs for him. She replied to him. Then get a job was all he said. No one is willing to take a drug selling college student who looks like a punk, she replied. But perhaps you wouldn't mind me staying with you. I will make it worth your while. Big boy, she gave Madara a seductive look. Like I said, leave, Madara said again, getting slightly annoyed. Okay, look, right, my parents died when I was about 15, I have been living in the streets my whole life since then and have lived a very bad life. Okay, the only good that has come into my life is the fact that you busted down the door and saved me from getting raped. You have essentially saved me, and I feel like sticking with a guy like you. My life can finally change for the better. I want to return the favor of you saving me by sticking by your side and helping you any way I can, so please Mr. take me with you. Are you willing to serve under me and help me fulfill my dream? Madara questioned her. Sure, why not, I owe that much at least. She replied, the name is Madara Uchiha, try and keep up Asuka Toriyama, lead the way Madara. But before Madara left, he went back to Kazami's room as he remembered there was a safe beside his bed. He took a glance at Asuka and she knew exactly what he meant. The password is 22,579, she answered him. As Madara punched in the code and opened the safe, what he found was a war chest of valuables. Perhaps the drug business does have its benefits, he thought to himself. He grabbed the 2 duffel bags that were across the safe and started filling them with money, gold and jewelry. He took 2 stacks of cash and threw it to Asuka. Go and sort out your debts and then return to me. I will be in apartment 508. Madara told her, and with that being said she followed his instructions. Madara grabbed the 2 duffel bags and proceeded to his apartment. A few moments later, Madara reached the door of his apartment and started knocking on the door. Just a minute, a voice could be heard within the apartment. The door opened and Madara noticed Asia wearing a white apron that said "Fuck you and eat my cooking." Madara raised an eyebrow at this. "Oh, big brother, you back?" Asia then proceeded to embrace her older brother in a hug. She then made room for him to enter. As he made his way to the living room, he noticed Nikki Jackson sitting comfortably on one of the sofas. Madara simply went single sofa seat and placed the duffel bags at his feet. "I assume you're the one who influenced Asia to wear that apron?" Madara questioned Nikki. "She is just so cute and innocent." The first just had to. Nikki smiled with a mischievous grin. "What, do you not like it, big brother?" Asia asked, seeking her older brother's approval. "No," Madara simply said. "Then if big brother doesn't like it, I don't like it," Asia stated as she gave back the apron to Nikki. "You just had to ruin my fun, didn't you?" Nikki said with a fake pout. "Let's us get back on topic. I dealt with that unwanted trash of yours and brought back something to brighten up your evening," Madara said as he put one of the duffel bags on the table in front of him. She stood up and went to open the duffel bag, and what she saw inside completely blew her mind. "How?" she asked, dumbfounded. "I am the Uchiha, I always get things done, Miss Jackson," Madara calmly said as he rested his right cheek on his right fist. Nikki started to bite her bottom lip when looking at him. "Call me Nikki, you know I really love a man that can get things done," she said as started to lick her lips and seductively approach Madara. What are you planning?" Madara questioned her as he noticed her approach him. Nikki said nothing as she was now sitting on his lap, her body facing his, and she started to wrap her arms around his neck. "I never really did embrace the touch of a woman back in the shinobi world. Maybe this time I should change that," Madara thought to himself as he let Nikki kiss him. At first it started off awkward due to his lack of experience, however he began to understand that he must apply more effort. He then grabbed Nikki's ass and began to deepen the kiss. Nikki was taken aback by this sudden change but very much enjoyed it. He then began to bite Nikki's bottom lip, which gave her a surge of pleasure and bliss. Lust started to take over. She couldn't take it anymore. She wanted him and she wanted him badly. The hunger was consuming her. Just as she was about to undress. Excuse me, do you two still realize that I'm right here?" Asia interrupted them with a bit of an annoyed and jealous tone. They both completely stopped and Nikki got off Madara. She placed a finger on her lip, still feeling the pleasurable pain from Madara's kiss. That was heaven, she thought to herself. She then grabbed her duffel bag, took one more look at Madara and gave him a wink. "I will see you later, Daddy," she said to him, and then walked out the apartment. "Asia, earlier today you told me that you had some sort of healing technique. Would you mind showing me?" "Sure, I don't mind, big brother." Madara then stood up and went to the kitchen to get a knife. Once he got it, he sliced open the palm of his hand, causing large amounts of blood to escape. Asia quickly rushed to her elder brother and started using Twilight Healing to close the wound. "Honestly, big brother, you didn't have to be so extreme." Madara just stayed silent and observed. Impressive, for healing ability is close to that of Hashirama's. Knock knock, enter. "Hey Madara, I'm back. Thanks for allowing me to sort out my money problems. They were becoming a real pain in the. Why is there a nun here?" "Asia, this is Asuka, she will be living with us." Hi, I'm Madara's little sister, little sister? But you guys look nothing alike, and also you blonde. It's a long story, Madara said. Everyone now moved to the living room and took a seat. So what's next? Asuka asked. I need to learn more about this supernatural world I read about, Madara replied. Why? It's all just a bunch of myths and fairy tales. Not necessarily, there is more to this than you think, Madara responded. Whatever, personally if you ask me, I think this is just a waste of time. Asuka then got up and went to go take a shower. There was a short silence until Asia decided to break it. Big brother, can I ask you for something? What is it? Could you register me into a school? A school, you say, and what would be the reason for this? I want to know how it feels to be a normal girl, and to make friends with people my age. When I was alone with Nikki, she told me there is a school called Kuo Academy that I can try to register to. This might be a good thing for the time being. The school will keep her occupied and I won't have to babysit her. Madara thought to himself, an excellent idea, Asia. We will go register you tomorrow. Asia then ran up and gave her older brother a tight hug. Thank you so much, big brother. I will make sure to do my best. Madara then got up and went to his bedroom to rest for the night. The next morning, Madara woke up and was about to get out of bed but felt something weighing him down. When he removed the blankets, he saw Nikki sleeping peacefully on top of him. How did you get in my apartment? Madara asked, slightly annoyed. Well, good morning to you too, and to answer your question, I always keep a spare key of my tenant's apartment, Nikki replied with a wide grin. Nikki then positioned herself so her face would be facing Madara's face. How about we pick up where we left off, huh? Nikki said, giving Madara a seductive look. Madara just used two of his fingers and flicked Nikki in the forehand. Now is not the time, boo, you not any fun, Nikki said with a childish pout. Madara then got out of bed and went to go take a shower. As Madara made his way down to the kitchen, he could see Asia waiting patiently for him, and Asuka making breakfast. It's about time. What was taking so long, big brother? It's not important. Are you ready to go? Hold on, you two have some breakfast before you leave, Asuka interjected. Asuka then gave both of them a plate of some classic eggs and bacon with some buttered toast. So, how is it? This is quite imper. Madara was interrupted by Asia's response. This is amazing. You have got to teach me your secret. Sure, I don't teaching you, Asia. As Madara observed the back and forth between Asia and Asuka, he thought to himself, the last time I remember having breakfast like this, I was still a young child. How time has passed. And with that he finished his breakfast and walked out the door, not waiting for Asia to waste more time. As Madara and Asia reached the gates of Kuo Academy, Madara completely stopped where he stood and remained completely still. Something seems off about this place. You can feel it too, huh? Is that you, Sage? How else would it be, Madara? But never mind that, there is some sort of strange energy in this place. Not only that, there seems to be multiple signals of the same energy. That is true, Madara. Proceed with caution, also be on alert. You being watched. You mean the redhead girl in the window? I knew she already was watching me. I suppose only a fool would doubt you. However, here is a tip: try activating Sage Mode. It will assist you with your sensory abilities, and it shouldn't be that difficult since you used Hashirama's Sen just before. What's wrong, big brother? Is something the matter? No, let us continue, Asia. Few minutes later, we find Madara and Asia in the principal's completing the registration forms. Alright, Asia, it seems that you are now a full-time student at Kuo Academy. Now if you are to please come with me so we can find a uniform that can suit you. Asia then looked directly to her elder brother seeking his input. Go ahead, Asia, you will find me here waiting for you. And with that being said, Asia got up and went with the principal to find a suitable school uniform, leaving Madara to himself. Now let us figure out what is this strange energy. Madara then began to close his eyes, control his breathing, and didn't move a single muscle in his body. After a short while of gathering national energy, Madara seemed to obtain markings on his face, basically the exact identical as Hashirama's Sage Mode. After entering Sage Mode, Madara's sensing greatly increased. This energy I felt before, it seems dark, corrupted and chaotic, also it doesn't seem human. Wait a minute, one of the signals is closing in on my location. Knock knock. Enter. Madara said after deactivating Sage Mode. Good afternoon, sir. Would you please come with me? My club president would like a word. The door was opened by a handsome teenager. He had silky blonde hair, light blue eyes and a mole underneath his left eye. He was dressed in the male uniform of Kuo Academy. Now tell me, boy, why would I do that? Madara questioned the blonde. We can offer answers. After all, we did notice you stay completely still when we were watching you, so there is no point in acting oblivious, the blonde responded. Very well then, lead the way, boy. Before Madara left the room, he left a shadow clone to attend to Asia when she is done. Madara was being led through the main campus to an old Victorian design building that gave off an ominous aura. Madara and the blonde reached the door, and when they entered they were greeted by a beautiful redhead. Ah, please come in, I've been waiting to meet you. Ah, please come in, have a seat, I've been waiting to meet you, Mr. Uchiha, Madara Uchiha. Ah yes, Mr. Uchiha, my name is Arias Cremery, welcome to the Occult Research Club. Madara was greeted by a beautiful young woman with a voluptuous figure. She had beautiful red crimson hair and blue eyes. Madara first examined the room. On his left he saw a petite girl with white hair and hazel eyes. She was busy munching down a plate filled with various junk food. Why does it seem that this child has some sort of senjutsu energy? That's because she does, Madara. It would seem that there are two existing energies within her. One half being senjutsu and the other half being similar to the one named Rias Cremery, although it's not as potent, Hagoromo interjected. On his left, Madara noticed another beautiful young woman, with a voluptuous figure. She had very long black hair and violet eyes. Her hair was tied in an extremely long ponytail. And this one, she does seem to have the same energy as the redhead. However, there is another energy, one that seems lighter and harmonious. This should be interesting, Madara thought to himself. Madara then proceeded to take a seat opposite the desk of Rias Cremery. Madara positioned himself in such a manner that he seemed like a king, and everyone else in the room were there to pay him a visit. Both Rias and the black-haired girl were impressed by this act of dominance. Right, as I said before, my name is Arias Cremery and this is my peerage. The young man that escorted you here is Kiba Yudo, the girl on your left is Koneko Tojo, and the young woman beside me is Akeno Hanjima, and we only have one question to ask you, Mr. Uchiha. Which is? Madara asked. What are you? Madara was taken so aback by the question that he raised a single eyebrow. Whatever do you mean by that? What species are you? Rios further elaborated on her previous question. I'm human, what of it? Not possible, no human can be emitting such powerful life force and energy, unless you have some sort of sacred gear. Sacred what? I have no idea what you speaking of, child. Also, with all this talk of species, what exactly are you then? We're devils. Rios said with a proud smile on her face as she and her peerage revealed their bat-like wings to Madara. Madara just remained silent, observing and analyzing the situation. So this is a devil, huh? The books I read earlier made it seem that these creatures looked like the most hideous things in existence. I suppose I shouldn't trust everything I read, Madara thought to himself. So you are the species that the Christians refer to as the most evil and vile in existence? Madara questioned, trying to pry more information from Rios. We are no longer like that. We devils are actually not that bad when you get to know us. We have completely changed our way of living, mindset and system. Who is that so? Care to elaborate on that statement of yours? Rios then went on to explain to Madara about the great war that happened between angels, fallen, and devils, about the 3 remaining pure-blooded devil households, about the devil peerage system and way of resurrection. Madara just remained silent, digesting and processing the new information he just heard. Your kind disgust me, Madara rebuked with a very serious facial expression. You take people and use them as your slaves, how pitiful. That's all for today. Please comment for a part 2.